Gotta get new batteries in my... I apologize, guys. We were cut off in the last part. I was talking about Brightest Day, number 14. It's decent. It's a dead man heavy. It's all about dead men trying to find the White Lantern so he could just live his life. He just wants to live again. My opinion of Brightest Day is it has a draw out possibility. I'm starting to feel like it's just being stretched and stretched. It's like there's a lot going on still. Don't get me wrong, but you know, we all know the next big event in Green Lantern is the War of the Green Lanterns, and Brightest Day is still going on though. And Brightest Day isn't going to end for another few months because there's 25 or 6 issues in Brightest Day, and we're only at issue 14.
That's why, probably.
So we have a few more months of Brightest Day to go at least. So I'm hoping that it'll probably end pretty good. I'm hoping it's not as good as Blackest Night though. Nothing I believe can top Blackest Night. We'll see about the War of the Green Lanterns. But anyway, now time for comic book of the week. Along with Legacies, but Legacies really can't tie in because Legacies is only telling the past. Time for new comic book of the week. First is Superman 705, and there's a lot going on. There's 2 parts to this comic. In the beginning, Superman enters the Windy City, and he's confronted by people who don't want him there. They're like, you walk here, you're like a loaded gun, you're trouble walking. And he's like, but I'm only, you know, he doesn't mean them harm, but because he's there, he could be harmed. And then you see a scene where him and Lois are in the hotel room. He's sleeping, and he's having a nightmare about a woman who's telling him, if you wish to save, you know, if you can't save them all, why are you bothering to save them at all? And then he fights this dragon thing, a 3-headed dragon that beats him up. And then Lois wakes him up, and in the dream, from the dream, and she's like, oh my God. And he says, what, Lois? And he looks in the mirror. He actually had bruises just like in the dream. So what I'm guessing is magic or some type of Kryptonian technology is involved. Because this takes place from about 2 issues back, about a girl getting possessed by a Kryptonian thing that came from New Krypton. Which then leads into the second story, which leads into the cover. About a little boy who has a very abusive father. And he's like, Superman's going to come walking down the street and I'm going to tell him and he's going to save me. And then he gets in the middle of the mother and father. The father's beating the mother. And he tells the father, I'm going to get Superman, he's going to stop you. And then the father throws him into the basement and locks the door.
Throws him down the stairs.
He doesn't throw him down the stairs. He throws him into the basement.
Yes, and he goes down the stairs.
Oh, yeah. And then he runs back up and he falls again. That's what I thought. Okay. And then Superman comes walking down the street, sees the flag, goes, oh, that's nice. And then he walks away. And the boy's like, no. And he screams out, Superman. And by some means of luck, Superman hears him with the super hearing, uses his X-ray vision, and sees the boy locked in the basement. He shows up, and this page was a knot in your throat. I showed Amber it too. He finds the boy, and the boy looks at him and sees the bruises on his face, even though the Lois tried to make up it and make him look okay. And he says, does your dad beat you too? And then Superman sees the father, and his face, he looks like he's ready to rip the father into pieces, but he doesn't. The father ends up going to jail, and Superman gives the boy a card, and he tells him, you call me every single day. It's a machine. You call me every day and just let me know how your day is. And if I don't hear from you one day, there will be consequences. And he looks at the father as the father is being walked off. And then he says, and this is the truth, this is more along the lines of a lesson, the policewoman said, it needed you to get to the bottom of it. And he says, no it didn't. All it really needed was someone, anyone with a pair of eyes, a voice, a phone, and 10 cents worth of compassion.
That's what I like about this.
That's the truth. You learn, this is Superman. You actually learn, it's true. If a person, it didn't take a superhero to see this. It only took somebody who has 2 eyes and compassion enough to actually report it to the police. That's all it takes. And this issue was wow. It leaves you with that lump in your throat that, you know, he saves this boy, but it's true. It happens in everyday life. Anybody with 2 eyes that sees abuse, if you have compassion, you tell the police and let them investigate then. And you take, this was amazing. Grounded, I really don't like the story. I think Superman should be just back in Metropolis doing his thing, but if we're forced to read the storyline for now, I'm hoping that at some point, maybe not a major event, because there's a lot of major events going on between Flash, Green Lantern, and everything else, I'm just hoping that eventually they get into Superman.
I do have to say one thing about this comic. If Superman is grounded and he's still helping people, why complain about it?
I'm not complaining about it.
I know you're not complaining, but what I'm saying is
other people don't like it.
other people are complaining about it. I have to say, if he's still out there, he's still helping people. What's the big deal?
They want classic stories, like back in the 90s, where he's in Metropolis fighting Metallo or something.
I have to say this. I'm sorry, but the fact that he's always saving the damsel in distress, it's good that he's finally helping. Like,
yeah,
I
agree.
I think the storyline has potential. I just didn't like certain parts. This part was one of the ones I loved. The first part I loved also. It's just like the first part. It leaves you with that moral. This is the Superman I've been waiting for a long time, since before even the new Krypton shit that was going on.
I think that might work to continue rubbing off its storyline.
Once again, comic books leave me wanting more.
Moving into the tie-in comic book of the week with an exclusive movie preview of it. Green Lantern 59 with an exclusive preview on the last page, which I will show you guys. And we're actually going to discuss the movie in a little while. But anyway, the trailer, not the movie, the trailer. Okay, it's getting a little drawn out because, like I said, we all know Brightest Day is going to end and the War of the Green Lanterns is going to start. So this tie-in, this story arc, is going to end soon, pretty soon, I'm guessing. So the Indigo Tribe comes back, thus the cover, and they find a man who has great compassion on Earth, and he becomes possessed with the Indigo Tribe's entity. And somewhere else, Hal Jordan is being confronted by the Flash, saying, "Why are you teaming up with the likes of Sinestro and Atrocitus and Larfleeze when you could be teaming up with Superman, Batman, and all of your fellow Justice League members?" And he's like, "You could be teaming with heroes. Why are you teaming with the villains? You know, you're raising a lot of questions." While on Oa, Selak goes to the Guardians and says, "Hal Jordan's ring has not brought in an arrest or any activity. I feel suspicious." I think he's a big rat or a big stool pigeon. I want to hit him for doing that. But he's like, "I'll find somebody on Earth to go undercover and find out what's going on." I hate that guy. Just for that one, you know, you hate those people that want to rat you out or report things. You know, little does he know Hal Jordan is trying to find out who's stealing all the entities. But anyway, so Flash is like, "I'm worried about you, man. You could be teaming up with us. We can help you." And he's like, "No, this is too dangerous." He's like, "When has it ever been too dangerous? We've been through so much together. Nothing's too dangerous. We've been through everything." And they're fighting, and then the Indigo Tribe shows up with Black Hand, and Flash goes, "Black Hand?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I'm reborn. I'm reborn. I'm compassionate now." So Hal Jordan starts to wonder if the Indigo rings are what give the Indigo Tribe their compassion to begin with. He's like, "If Black Hand can feel compassion now, what about the rest of you? Do you guys have compassion too?" And he's like, "I don't know. Can I trust you guys?" It's a whole trust issue that starts up now. Anyway, so then in the last few pages, you see, I'm thinking he's a Forsaken Guardian. He shows up with Parallax, and Parallax does not try to get Hal Jordan. He actually bonds with Flash, who shows fear for Hal Jordan and worried about him. And in the last page, you see Flash Parallax. And it's to be continued.
That's a cool pick.
And also then, for those of you who are interested in the movie, there's a little one-page preview for the movie. Now, let's talk about movie. For those of you who haven't noticed on the internet, I actually have it up already. You just make it full screen. We're going to watch the trailer right now really quickly. We have the time, right, Mike?
8 minutes, 42 seconds.
We're up to 8 minutes, 42 seconds. Okay, so we will come back in the next part.
It's only 2 minutes.
It doesn't matter. I want to come back.
Right.
We'll come back in the next part where we will discuss, we'll watch it, and we will discuss the trailer, and we will conclude this entire episode. So I'll see you guys in the last part of this week's comic book review. See you soon.